before we start off today's episode, we want to give you guys a heads up. We're going to be talking very candidly about drugs and alcohol, so consider this your trigger warning before you venture further. Make sure that you know what you're in for before we dive a little too deep.
And on that note, I'm Whitney Stevens.
And I'm Yo-Yo Blackfire.
And this is Unstable. So I see you repping the Narcan spray on your toilet here.
I thought this was a really good episode to bring this up and teach people about this. So if you can't see, I will describe it to you. I'm holding a small, square, white box with black text and some red fuchsia accents. And it has actually a Narcan nasal spray. And these are distributed locally by Taros Health. Shout out to our friends at Taros Health.
Yes.
And what these are their opioid blockers. So if anyone ever is in a situation where somebody is having an opioid overdose, which unfortunately, given the current climate here in our local area in particular with fentanyl on the rise.
I believe throughout the entire
this
US.
Honestly everywhere. Honestly everywhere.
And very prominent
and you never
in
know,
the gay community
never
as
know
well.
where your drugs are coming from, and you never want to say don't party, girl. I've done drugs, I do drugs. We're gonna party, girl, we're gonna have fun. But be prepared and be safe and know how to use it. So I thought I'd take a second and show you guys what this is. So what this is, like I said, is it's an opioid blocker. So it helps open up the breathing channels. And I'm gonna open this up.
Is this like our first unboxing video?
Oh my God, wait, let's try this again.
Okay.
Hi guys, we have this beautiful, lovely package courtesy of Taros Health. And I wanted to open it up with you guys.
This actually is the best unboxing video because it actually could save somebody's life.
I know, trending, hashtag, hashtag. It's thick cardboard. It's the kind of thing that like if you're gonna roll a joint or a cigarette, you can use this as the filter.
Okay, let's be serious here.
I know, this is very serious, guys. So inside each of these Narcans, I'm in particular showing you the nasal spray because I know that a lot of people struggle with the idea of stabbing someone with a needle. Although at the end of the day, if you can save someone's life, you can save someone's life.
Do it, obviously.
But each of these come with 2 individual 4 milligram doses of the Narcan nasal spray. And the way that these work is if you ever find someone and you suspect that they are in an overdose, the very, very first thing you do is call 911. This Narcan only lasts in the body for a certain amount of time, and you want to give the paramedics as much time as possible. So what you do is you're going to call 911, you're going to have them on their back, very, 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 very lightly propped up, just on the head, so that they can breathe and their passages are straight and everything. You're going to take this on the back. A little bit of ASMR for all you hookers. All of you kinky.
We're obviously not going to open it and waste it.
I'm not going to open it and waste it, but you peel off the back, and you'll notice that it's designed as a grip. So you would grab it like this with your fingers like this, so you can press, and you take it, you put it fully into the person's single nostril until your fingers are touching their nose. And you press firmly on the back so that they get the full dose. Now it's also important to know that sometimes it can take more than 1 dose. So give them a minute, and if they're still experiencing symptoms or showing signs of the overdose and breathing difficulties, you can give them another dose. They cannot have a bad reaction from being given this.
Exactly.
And if what they're reacting to is different than an opioid overdose, this is not gonna have a negative reaction or cause harm or damage.
I think that's really important to talk about.
With whatever it is that they have taken or may be experiencing.
You can't be afraid to administer this because it's not going to have any...
You could save someone's life.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, like we said, partying's gonna party, and we're actually about to share some very fun stories with our own drug and alcohol experiences. But I wanted to take a second before we even do that to let you guys know that these are available. These are 100% legal. You cannot be arrested for possession. They can't ask you to like take it out of your purse.
Right.
And a lot of the, especially queer spaces, are now hosting and working with organizations like Taros to have this on location and accessible. So be sure to do your part. And
yeah,
let's get into the topic.
I spoke with them yesterday, and I've actually, like, every time they're at an event here locally, if you're somewhere else, I'm sure there is a resource for you to be able to find it.
Yeah, also, like, there's a lot, like, the county, like, often has programs, especially even, like, LGBTQIA focused programs and sexual wellness programs and, like, harm reduction, right? Like, we talk, all of these things are so important in our community, and it's a tough topic to have, and I'm grateful to have the opportunity to do my part with you guys.
So I know you're doing this as well, but I've started just keeping them in my bag that's always with me because obviously if you don't have it immediately accessible, it's not really gonna help at all. But
and they're good. They're good for a year
like
after the expiration date. So they're not going to go bad. They are a little bit heat sensitive, so you don't necessarily want to like leave it in your car. But for a lot of us who experience extreme heat, we're not exactly leaving our things in there anyways.
Girl, I'm experiencing extreme heat all day today. I'm just...
I know, well, that's actually a fun transition into our topic.
No, but I've been keeping them in my bag, and I think it would be really cool if other people started doing that. I keep one that I always have on me, and then I keep an extra one, and I've been handing it out to Uber drivers that I take because I think...
Drivers...
It's really important, like, as like, just keep it in your bag, and like...
Servers, entertainers, if you work in nightlife in particular, but really anywhere and anytime because you don't know what life's gonna throw at you.
You don't know. Throw it in your little gay backpack and carry it around with you.
Yeah, never hurts to be prepared. Thank you for coming to our PSA. Back to our regularly scheduled program.
Yes, that's a good segue.
So this heat that you're experiencing, sis, tell me about it.
I don't, I think I might be going through menopause.
Yeah, I think that you're hungover.
Yeah, I'm so hungover.
So for those of you that don't know, spoiler alert, Whitney drinks.
A little.
I drink too.
In fact, I know it'll help my hangover.
I know, the solution is
well, don't show the label. They don't sponsor us.
Yeah. If you want a sponsorship spot here at Unstable, you can email us and we'll workshop it.
Nope, still hot. Didn't work. No, I'm
You also chose to wear this like 12 yaki bundle.
And this dress that doesn't breathe, but I wanted to dress up like Studio 54 while we talked about drugs and alcohol.
Right, and I wanted to dress up like
Lil Bo.
Like a little boat.
A little boat.
Little Yo Peep.
Something.
Little Yo Peep.
You found a way to get yo in there.
Peep, yeah,
little yo peep.
Yeah, but like I'm an angsty, like I used to live on the farm and I was so tired of all those fucking farm boys, and so I became a sexy
You'll find her on Farmers Only, but...
Yeah.
All
Actually,
right.
It's so funny, we talked about Farmers Only so much.
Yeah, I think they should sponsor us.
If you work at Farmers Only, let me know if you can give me free membership, because I am looking to unload a bunch of gravel.
Oh my gosh.
But anyways, so you drink, let me ask you this.
I like to drink too much.
When did you start drinking? Was alcohol something that, like, did your parents drink around the house?
Okay, I don't mean to laugh about that. So, growing up, my parents, for the majority of the time, never drank, but that's because prior to me being born, like, drank a ton. And my dad is 100% an alcoholic, as I very much probably am as well. It's very genetic.
I mean, this is a safe space. We've talked about a lot of things. We can openly say
but my parents were completely sober through the entire time from when I was born until all the way that I was out of the house, and then even beyond that for a period of time. My mom will like drink occasionally now. My dad drank again for a while, but he's not drinking anymore. So like, I mean, it wasn't an experience growing up for me because there was no alcohol in the house. My parents never drank.
So when did you start? When did you first like start drinking?
High school. When I graduated high school.
Okay.
I think the first time I like really drank is after I graduated, and I actually came down here with my sister as like a celebration. And I like me and my friend who was also like very straight-laced in high school, we didn't party or anything. We had like a margarita by the pool here and we're drunk.
Oh, so you drink. So you're a liar.
What do you mean?
You would drink in high school? You'd have a margarita?
No, I said
afterwards.
After. It was my graduation celebration.
I would say that like growing up, like obviously like the occasional wine with grape juice at like religious like Jewish stuff,
right,
and the occasional like shots or whatever that, and like having a beer or whatever on holidays would like be like a fun thing that the parents would let us do, I guess.
Okay.
But I've never really been a big drinker. Even in high school when we would try to drink, or even like working in nightlife, I drink and I'm happy to. Right now my drink of choice is a martini. I like a dirty martini.
Yeah. You're not a big drinker, though.
But I'm just not a big drinker. I'm just not. And
I cover that base for both of us.
Yeah, but I smoke weed. We've talked about this. I smoke weed.
Yeah, like habitually.
And you don't smoke weed. And I've been smoking weed since high school. And I also experimented with like psychedelics in high school, which is something you did not even do any real substances actually until like I came into your life 2 years ago. 2 years ago.
Was that 2 years ago?
Okay, let's be candid.
No, we went to Newport Beach
last summer.
In 2020.
But I mean, like, so like for me, like I had done mushrooms, LSD, and ecstasy, Molly, whatever, in high school, and probably tried Adderall.
Okay.
And then later on, more recently, I tried cocaine because it was always around me. And I will say this, I was never pressured to do, I've never been pressured to do drugs.
I've never been pressured
always kindly offered, like, to be included or to like be hospitable, but never pressured, honestly. And so that I'm grateful for. But like when it's always around you, it's just something that you start to want to do. Like if you were to start bartending again, like imagine how much, like I've been like working behind a bar and like it just makes me want to drink more.
Yeah.
100%.
I honestly am really terrible at bartending.
But cocaine, that's a big thing in our community.
Yes.
And I mean everywhere, to be honest.
But within the last 2 years, it's become like super prominent.
Crazy
for sure.
pants. And it's so tough because like we said earlier, you don't know what you're getting.
And
even if you know your person.
Yeah, and I think like that's happening. I think that's happening throughout the entire U.S. and across all gay communities. It's like made a very strong resurgence.
Yeah, like during quarantine, we just kind of said, I mean, listen, we did it. We did it. We're being open and vulnerable. We spent quarantine doing drugs in the pool, hanging out with our friends.
We absolutely did.
It was a small, tight-knit group of friends. We saw each other all the time.
Yeah.
But it wasn't like, oh, on the weekends we did. They were married. There were no weekends. And that's actually where the name of this episode came from, because I remember last year, I want to say it was 4th of July-ish, and it was after we had a crazy night, or a couple nights, and you and a friend of ours and I were hanging out, and we were like, well, what are we doing tonight? And I was like, oh, well, we talked about it, and we're gonna take it easy tonight.
Which was our.
And then we ended up like taking acid or something at 8 a.m. in the morning. It was like so crazy. Yeah. And so that originated taking it easy. We're taking it easy.
Right, that became our joke. It was like, we're gonna take it easy today.
And we're gonna take it easy. But I definitely think that the pandemic was the height of doing drugs. I mean, I'm proud to say that I gave you new experiences you had never had.
Oh yeah.
And I don't think that we ever necessarily had bad drug experiences.
No. I mean,
but tell the children what kind of influence I've been on your life. No, please tell the children. Look at them with those yaki bundles and those little bit of chest hair that matches them.
Oh my god, and also like sweating my face off, but it's fine. This is the hangover. This is what happens.
This is what happens. It's a part of life.
Yeah. So I had, like you said, I had never experienced anything outside of alcohol, and I had done cocaine, I think
like just before we started,
once or twice. Yeah.
It was like very casual with friends.
Yeah, and so like honestly, like when the whole like pandemic happened and like all of us were together and cocaine became like very prominent, I started doing it like fairly regularly.
No, can we be candid?
Like it was always around.
This is a safe space, right?
Yeah.
During the pandemic, we would be in the pool all day for several days in a row. We got very tan. It was really fun. We literally had the same person come to us one time in the morning for $1,300, and then hours later for another like 7 or 8. And then like by the second or third time, she was upset with us. And that actually originated our saving.
Money.
She hates money. Like we're like, girl, we literally paid your mortgage and your car payment in one day. Why is our drug dealer
mad that
like
she
you're
just
mad
made
that you have to sell drugs
today.
to us?
Yeah.
But I'll be honest, no, we were doing a lot of drugs. So there was a lot of cocaine.
But
we did a lot.
We need to make it clear that there was like 10 of us.
It was like
you and I weren't doing $2,000 in cocaine in a weekend.
No, not by ourselves.
Let's make that super clear.
No, not by ourselves, but collectively.
Yeah, it was a thing.
We were all doing lots of, and it wasn't also like I said, it wasn't just cocaine.
I mean, it was for me at that time.
We did Adderall.
Oh yeah, I did do Adderall.
Adderall, recreational Adderall. Which I think is worth mentioning because it is a form of like speed and whatever. It's like fake cocaine, especially when we're drinking like so much alcohol with it.
It's a legal form of cocaine, yeah.
Yeah, and then we started doing a lot of Molly. That was a thing, and you had never done it. And we would do it around the house, and you would just hang out and drink and do some coke or whatever.
Yeah.
And then last year for your birthday, we went to Malibu.
That
And
wasn't Malibu.
It
by the
was
way.
totally Malibu. If
It
you
was
check our
not.
maps, it has a record of us being
At
right there
Newport
in
Beach,
Malibu.
but yeah.
Okay, sure, whatever. No, but and actually on the way there, so I was like, oh, it's Whitney's birthday. We're gonna go to the beach. I got this
Are
nice
we gonna
house right
tell
on the
this
beach.
story
We're gonna
about
tell
how
all
I
the
had
stories.
a full
We're
panic
gonna tell
attack?
all the stories.
Oh my God.
Okay.
Okay.
So we were on our way there, and I splurged. I spent
No,
like,
wait. Let's start with the night before when I set the ground rules.
Okay, so one drug. Okay, so we had a pre-vacation, and this is the one drug. Actually, I didn't mention that we've done, but it's ketamine.
Oh, ketamine,
We did
yeah.
ketamine. I had fine experiences on ketamine, but eventually it got monotonous and it wasn't fun anymore.
Yeah.
But okay, so we were at the Clarendon Hotel the night before
Yes.
because we had this big vacation planned. I spent like $1,500 to $2,000 on a house by the beach.
Yes.
We were driving
same amount in drugs.
Shoob's car. Oh, more than that. In drugs.
Yeah.
I bought a bunch of cocaine. I bought Molly's. I bought Adderalls, ketamine. I had a bunch of pot. And
Yeah.
then like the morning we were leaving, I got like cases of Trulies and White Claws and Handles and beer and oh my
Yes.
God, we were literally like so the night before. She's a little nervous about the trip. We got a plan, whatever. So we pre-vacation
Yes.
at the Clarendon.
So that we can make sure to be all
On the
together.
same page.
Yes.
Hola página mismo, todo comprehendo, Hakuna Matata.
You want me to tell what my one rule was? The one rule I had.
No, first I want you to tell them what we were doing at the hotel that night.
Well, ketamine and coke.
Right, but how were we played a game
Called Calvin and Klein.
called Calvin or Klein. And basically I had a bag of each, and they had small letters on them, but the thing is after a while they kind of like start to wash off. So I would play this game where I would put, and you guys, I do not condone this,
Do not
okay?
condone this
Do
at
not condone
all.
this behavior.
We're getting to
or
where we
just
don't do this at
sharing.
some point, but yes.
But it was all consensual, and I would give my friends a bum, and they would have to tell me by the smell if it was Calvin or Klein.
Calvin being cocaine,
And
Klein
Klein
being
being
ketamine. Yeah.
Yeah. So that was fun. And so we were doing that, and we set up our skagenda and our unskagenda, the do's and don'ts. There's gonna be a little trademark on all these words of ours.
The skagenda,
The
yeah.
skagenda, the unskagenda.
Uh-huh.
And the one item that was like number one on the skagenda.
It was my one rule.
Was the one rule you looked him dead ass in the face and you said what?
Do not get pulled over on our way there. Do
Yes.
not get pulled over.
Don't get pulled over. And guess what the fuck happened?
Got pulled over.
Mary,
And also could not find the insurance.
she didn't have her. We're gonna have, so I can't wait to have her on this pod one day.
Yeah.
Because we're gonna call her out for this.
Yeah.
But didn't have her registration in the car, but had two
or
pieces of
insurance.
paper. Didn't have anything in her car.
Shuffling
Registration,
through the
she has these two
same-
pieces of paper that are probably like a printed receipt from some. I don't
Probably
even know.
from Kinko's.
It was like
Who knew?
stupid. And she's like shuffling through them for minutes on minutes on minutes while the police officer's like looking in the window watching this. And I'm sitting here in the passenger seat, like acting like it's not even happening. Meanwhile, at my feet, passenger seat in my backpack, 86 years of prison time.
Probably, yeah.
86 years. In the back seat, this
I'm
one and the other
dying.
motherfucker, panic attacks.
I have a full panic
Guess
attack.
what happened? Got off scot-free.
He didn't even give her.
She gave her
Oh,
a warning
warning
for not having the
ticket.
registration, which all she had to do then was send in the registration. Lord knows she probably didn't even remember to do that.
She did.
But
she did.
I think we
actually take care of
forced her
it.
to. No, of
Probably.
course. But so literally got off like totally free. So technically it didn't even happen. Except for the trauma we
Except
all
for
share.
my anxiety that I still have today.
Except for the heart condition you now
I was
have.
like, we're all going
Yeah.
to prison for 40 years. Like, this is
Yeah,
great.
and they're not gonna keep us together. They're gonna
No.
separate us by weight and size and color.
So I see where we're going here. Yeah, but no, that was freaking terrifying.
That was wild, nuts pants. And then we were in Malibu and
We
had a
were-
wonderful drug experience.
Yes.
Wonderful drug experience. Did Molly on the beach for the first time at night. It was like the quieter part of Newport. So like it was like dead on the beach. We got to sit on a lifeguard stand for hours. Jokes, laughs, just amazing. And then we're hanging out. I think it was actually the morning before maybe. We were hanging out, we went grocery shopping. And we go grocery shopping. I spent like hundreds of dollars
Hundreds.
on food.
We
we
bought-
bought like $80 steaks.
No, they were more than that.
No,
I
like
think the
each. They were,
steaks
like-
alone were like $300.
It's true. And then we bought scallops and we bought other stuff. And
We like bought Wagyu
and so while
beef
she's
and shit.
so while she's cooking in the morning, because we're like, oh, we should have a good big breakfast and eat up, and then we're gonna do drugs tonight and party, and then we're probably not gonna eat too much the rest of the trip because we just
Right.
whatever. So She's cooking in the kitchen, and I'm like, good morning. And I start putting cocaine in her nose.
Yeah.
As she's cooking. And then we finish this bag of cocaine, and I fill it with sugar, and I'm making my coffee. I go up to our friends, and they're watching like TV, the news, whatever. The two of them, they only pay attention to themselves. Love you guys. And I'm just casually standing there, and I just dump the bag of sugar that's in our Coke bag, like, into my coffee, and they both go,
They really did.
And I just drink it. They said, you just wasted all of my cocaine. And I said, here, you want to try it? And they drank the coffee.
Of course they did.
I told them it was a joke. They were mad that they drank the coffee.
But every time we tried to eat on that trip, you just, like, we kept feeding each other
We were
drugs.
taking it easy that trip.
And so we never actually ate any of the food we ever could.
We were a little bit, just like living a very humble moment in our
Yes.
times. Very,
I think it's very important that we're not, like, condoning this.
no, not condoning drugs, but we're talking candidly about
But this
the wild times.
is our experience.
Because we've like dabbled and we've had our fun times, we've also seen the dark side of drugs.
Yeah.
And the reality is like we talked about at the beginning of the episode, you don't know what you're getting. And the truth is, even if it's your friend, you don't know where they're getting it from, and you don't know where they're getting it from.
Exactly.
And at some point, I mean, you're getting baby powder, you're getting fentanyl, you're getting protein powder, it's just like, it's not the tea, mama.
Right.
But I'm not going to tell you not to do it. I mean, live your life, have your experiences.
Just be proactive and responsible
I think
about
that,
it.
yeah, being responsible. I know that this sounds kind of funny, but like, our friend group has always been responsible. Like, if we are going to do drugs on a weekend, like, we make sure to eat before, because you know that when you do drugs, you're not really interested in eating, and like, that's not a great balance. So you eat before, and then you eat like later on in the weekend to like settle things down. Are there any drugs that you wouldn't do again?
I had a very not fun experience on acid.
Acid is the one drug, it takes forever. There's no cure. Like mushrooms, if you have a bad mushroom trip, you can drink milk and it'll settle your stomach.
Okay.
And people say, although my friends, and I've done it before, people say that you shouldn't do cocaine when you take Molly or ecstasy because it cuts off the way that it affects your brain and your chemicals and stuff.
We always have.
We've always done it, but then we would do so much of it.
Also, we're not condoning that again.
That's another thing is that like as the pandemic and the first lockdown and everything kind of started to lighten up, we really like organically kind of moved away from doing a lot of those substances. I mean, we haven't done them in a while.
No.
I will say,
don't plan on it.
Yeah, I will say that I did do like mushrooms recently with some friends, but mushrooms are actually used as like an antidepressant, so like a nice microdose of those is actually really good for you. Like next time we go to the beach, I'd be super down to like microdose.
I believe in microdose.
I think that'd be super fun. And obviously I smoke weed.
Obviously I still drink.
You still drink? I smoke. Yeah, you drink. I drink. Like I said, right now I love a dirty martini.
Right.
I think that no matter what you do, I think it's all about. I think the real secret is like moderation.
Moderation, absolutely.
But beyond moderation, it's about protecting yourself. Like if you're getting sick or you're having like obviously getting hungover every once, you never get hungover.
I don't, except for today.
You really never get hungover. So like
you've never
that's
seen me
kind of how
hungover
you
ever.
know. Like your body's giving you a sign. Your body will let you know if you're going too hard, and obviously none of these things are really good for you.
Obviously, yeah.
So even smoking can have negative effects. Even like anything, it's not great for you. But like, it is a part of life, and people are gonna do it. So like, find your thing, enjoy your moment, take it easy.
Right. I think for me, like acid, just the come down with coupled with my anxiety was just so absolutely horrible for me.
Because it never ends.
Yeah, it's just like I don't like to feel like I'm not in control.
Yeah.
So that was not good for me. But I think obviously people are going to experiment with drugs and alcohol.
Yeah.
And it is something that's prominent within our community, I believe more so than
I also don't think it's talked about enough in our community, which is a shame. I would love to see us continue to shed more light on the harm reduction aspect of being a community.
Yes.
And I mean, know the little tricks of things like I mentioned earlier, if you're having a bad trip on mushrooms, you can drink milk. Also like ecstasy and Molly, after you basically what you do is you shoot your whole load of serotonin.
Yeah.
And
then
so
you have the
after you've unloaded, it's actually called Suicide Tuesdays.
Yeah.
Because a couple days later you're so depleted, and often you're back doing whatever you're doing. So, I mean, things like drinking orange juice is actually really good for like helping with that, what they call the afterglow.
Mm-hmm.
And
like we said, we don't condone it, but I think I grew up in the era of DARE, which was like all about
DARE.
like not using drugs at all, and it like pretty much presented like in an aspect like you were a bad person if you ever did any drugs.
Everyone does drugs. I mean, like literally, even like growing up, like no matter, like I never would have known that like now I know that like my dad and his friends used to do in that 70s and 80s or
Right.
whatever, and like I think that it should be something that is just more openly talked about. It's just a part of life, and I think that by making it more of an open conversation, we're taking away some of that intrigue, some of that mystery, some of that taboo,
right.
and which inherently makes it less exciting and just more casual and more understood. And there's nothing more power than being educated and being able to ask questions about something.
I mean, keeping it a secret, I think, probably costed a lot of lives that didn't need to be lost because no one wanted to talk about it, and it was like hidden and underground. I think it's important that we recognize that drugs are a part of a lot of people's lives, or they're involved in our community, and there are like methods to, like you said, like prevent something bad from happening.
Yeah, be prepared.
Yeah.
And like I said, there's always resources out there, just like there are so many resources out there to get tested for STDs and STIs, get set up on PrEP, get condoms. There are just as many resources, if not more, out there for drug, substance, alcohol, harm reduction.
And we talked about Narcan. I think it's important that we bring up the fact that now test strips are not illegal.
Yes,
in
Governor
Arizona.
Ducey here in Arizona recently decriminalized. It used to be you could be pulled over and charged with possession if you had fentanyl test strips, and they are now officially decriminalized. So props to you for doing something
I
good.
guess that's one thing.
One good thing, Ducey.
Yeah.
And but that's super great, and I look forward to a time when we're able to help distribute those as well, because I think it's really important that someone can have the opportunity to check what they're doing.
Check before they like.
Even if
go
for
down
no
that route.
other purpose than to be able to dose themselves better or more, whatever.
Preventative measure.
Yeah.
Sure.
Harm reduction and
Yes.
preventative care. It's not about stopping something. It's not about like ostracizing or
Right.
like making someone feel any kind of way, because I've done it. And just because I don't do it now doesn't mean I'll never do it again.
And it's giving people the opportunity to do it in the safest way possible.
Absolutely. And if you are in a situation where you or someone you care about is maybe struggling with drugs or alcohol and it's affecting them or the people around them, reach out. There are people who can help you figure out the best way to approach that, and never give up on someone. A lot of the times when people are in those situations, it feels like the best thing you can do is kind of cut that
Distance
cord and
yourself,
distance
yeah.
yourself. But really, maybe what they need is someone who cares enough to not just bring it to them attention and call them out, but to also help them get themselves a little more stable in that situation. Once again, we want to say that we do not in any way, shape, or form condone the use of drugs, even alcohol or any kind of substances. They are maybe a quick fix, but in no way a solution to anything in life.
Absolutely. The main part about this is we wanted to be open and candid that yes, like we have done experimented with drugs and alcohol, but
Because everyone does.
yeah.
And by making this an open, honest conversation, hopefully it can help someone feel comfortable to keep themselves or someone else out of a bad
And
situation.
we really just want to push the preventative measures to keep it as safe as possible.
Yeah, be sure and feel free to reach out to us or Taros Health if you're local, or find your local organization that helps distribute things like Narcan and can help people get through their tough times.
Absolutely. And on that note, we're going to wrap up this episode. I'm Whitney Stevens.
And I'm Yo-Yo Blackfire.
And this is Unstable.